Welcome to the deep dive, where we try to cut through the noise and get straight to the core of what really matters. Have you ever found yourself wondering if all those, countless hours, all that investment poured into training programs and learning initiatives, if they actually truly make a measurable difference? Beyond the good intentions, the buzzwords, how do we really know if knowledge is sticking, if skills are being applied, or, frankly, if it's genuinely impacting the bottom line?
Yeah,
It's a question that, well, it keeps a lot of organizational leaders up at night.
it absolutely does. And for too long, measuring learning effectiveness has been a bit of a dark art, hasn't it? Often relying on subjective feedback, simple attendance records, or just, basic completion rate.
Tick box exercises.
Exactly. But what's truly transformative here, what's exciting, is how modern data analytics is just revolutionizing this entire landscape. It's moving us from guesswork to genuine insight.
Exactly. And today we're taking a deep dive into an incredibly comprehensive framework. Now, it was designed specifically for large banking organizations, and we should definitely credit the well-researched insights here from digital learning professional Rabi Sankar. But the principles and the innovative approaches it outlines, they are remarkably relevant, far beyond just the financial sector. So if you're looking to optimize any learning investment, you're really in for a treat today.
Yeah, definitely. Our source material lays out a clear, data-driven path. It's not just about tracking, but truly understanding, enhancing, and ultimately proving the impact of learning initiatives. It's really about building a robust system, not just for reporting, but for strategic decision-making.
Okay, so our mission for you today, then, is to extract the most important nuggets from this groundbreaking framework. We want to show you how data can fundamentally move learning from what's often seen as a cost center to a verifiable value driver. Get ready for some surprising facts, some practical examples, and maybe a fresh perspective on what effective learning truly means. So let's start at the foundation. How does this framework even approach the whole idea of learning impact?
Okay, so at its core, this framework builds upon and I'd say significantly enhances the well-known Kirkpatrick Four-Level Evaluation Model.
Ah, okay. Familiar ground for some.
Yes, but it goes far beyond just asking if people liked the training, level one. Instead, it integrates banking-specific metrics and cutting-edge data analytics to provide really comprehensive measurement across four critical dimensions. So level one for reaction, level two for the actual learning, level three for behavior change on the job, and level four for the overall business impact.
That's a really powerful shift from maybe the more traditional ways of evaluating. But how challenging is it realistically to track that full journey, from learning something to actual business impact? And what are the biggest hurdles organizations usually face trying to connect those dots?
Yeah, and that's precisely where the framework, I think, really shines. It acknowledges those challenges. It does that by outlining a multi-layered data collection system. It's designed to integrate diverse sources for a truly holistic view. It's about casting a wide net, essentially.
Okay.
So this includes things like xAPI tracking. Think of this as the microscopic view. It captures real-time monitoring of learning activities, really granular interaction data. It tells you not just if someone completed something, but how they engaged, Every click, every answer.
Wow, okay. Down to that level.
Down to that level. Then there's performance integration. This directly links learning data with HR systems and key performance indicator measurements, KPIs.
Right.
It's about seeing if the training actually moves the needle on individual and team performance.
Makes sense.
Then a customer feedback loop. This means integrating with CRM systems, connecting training with service quality metrics, so you can see if better trained staff actually lead to happier customers.
Ah, direct customer input. Nice.
And finally, business impact metrics. This is the big picture stuff. Directly tracking metrics like revenue, compliance rates, operational efficiency, and clearly tying them back to the learning initiatives.
So it's not just about collecting more data, it sounds like, but connecting different types of data, often from, totally separate systems, to paint that complete picture.
Exactly.
That's where the real magic happens, I imagine.
Absolutely. Without that integration, you're just looking at isolated data points, aren't you? Not the full learning journey.
Okay, this is where it gets really compelling for me. The framework doesn't just talk about impact in these abstract terms. It gives us concrete numbers and targets, like a precise scorecard. Let's break down these key performance indicators, these KPIs, across the four levels. What kind of numbers are we talking about here that, truly make a difference.
Absolutely. And these specific, I'd say ambitious targets provide a really clear benchmark for effectiveness. They show what genuine success looks like. So first, level 1, reaction and engagement metrics. This is all about how learners experience the training.
Okay.
You're looking at a Net Promoter Score, NPS target of 8.0 or higher. That's for training recommendation likelihood.
8.0. Okay, that's pretty high for NPS.
It is. It shows real advocacy. Then an engagement rate aiming for 85% or more active participation. It's not just signing up, it's, showing up and really taking part.
Right, not just logging in.
Exactly. Completion rate, a strong target of 90% plus for full program completion. And here's an interesting one, mobile usage. Targeting 60% or more of learning accessed via mobile.
Oh, that's interesting. Why mobile specifically?
Well, it highlights the importance of flexible, accessible, kind of on-the-go learning in today's work environments. People learn when and where they can.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So these metrics tell you if people are actually, engaging with the learning, finding it valuable, but that's just the first step, is it?
Yeah.
Does that engagement translate into actual learning?
Precisely. And that leads us straight to level 2, learning and knowledge acquisition. And here, the goals get quite specific. You're aiming for a knowledge gain of 25% or more improvement in pre versus post assessments, a direct measure of what was actually learned.
Right, 25%, measurable lift.
Yep. Then skill proficiency, 80% or more achieving defined competency levels, meaning they can actually perform the skill as expected.
Right.
Certification rate, 85% plus earning required certifications, important in regulated industries.
Okay.
And crucially, knowledge retention, targeting 75% or more retention after 3, 6, and even 12 months.
12 months.
Yeah, because what's learned today really needs to stick for tomorrow, doesn't it?
Retention is absolutely key. We've all been through training where you learn a lot in the moment, but then, poof, it fades. However, learning something doesn't automatically mean you use it on the job. That leads us to behavior change, which I imagine is much, much harder to track.
It is harder,
Right.
definitely, but it's essential. This is level 3, behavior change and application. This is where learning translates into measurable action on the job.
Okay, the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. So, skill application. Aiming for 80% or more actually using learned skills on the job. This goes beyond knowing. It's about doing.
Right.
Customer interaction quality, a 15% or more improvement in service scores, and this comes directly from customer feedback, a direct link between training and customer experience.
15% improvement based on what customers say. That's significant.
It is. Then, compliance adherence. For banking, this is a critical 100% regulatory compliance rate target.
Non-negotiable.
Absolutely. In a highly regulated industry like banking, this isn't just a goal, it's table stakes.
Got it.
And finally, cross-selling success, a tangible 20% or more increase in product sales linked to the training. This is where training directly contributes to revenue growth.
Wow, hold on. A 20% increase in product sales directly linked back to training. That's not just compelling, that's a direct financial contribution. It truly connects learning to tangible business outcomes in a way that's just hard to ignore.
And that brings us neatly to level 4, business impact and ROI. This is the ultimate measure of value, really proving the strategic importance of learning.
The big one.
The big one. So revenue impact, aiming for 10% or more additional revenue specifically from trained employees. Employee retention, a 15% or more improvement in retention rates, because well-trained, confident employees are often happier and more likely to stay.
That's a huge cost saving in itself.
Absolutely. Customer satisfaction, or CSE, targeting scores of 4.5 out of 5.0 or higher, another key indicator of how customers perceive your service. And cost reduction, aiming for 5% or more in operational cost savings, usually due to increased efficiency from the training.
Wow. Okay, these aren't just, feel-good metrics. These are numbers that directly impact the bottom line. They show up on a balance sheet. It makes the case for investing in learning incredibly strong. It really transforms it from an expense to a genuine asset.
Exactly.
So we've established the what and the why of the data. But often the biggest hurdle is how do you collect all this data without it feeling like, just another bureaucratic chore for everyone? This framework seems to offer some genuinely fresh approaches beyond just the usual dry questionnaires.
That's a critical point, absolutely. The goal is to make feedback collection less of a burden, maybe even enjoyable, and more integrated into the learning experience itself. For instance, they propose an online gamified feedback system for post-training reactions.
Gamified, like training mission complete, rate your experience.
Yeah.
I love the idea of making it feel like a game. What kind of data does this yield that, say, traditional surveys might miss?
Exactly that kind of thing. It typically includes maybe an overall experience rating using fun emoji sliders. There's often an interactive slider for knowledge gain that visually shows a percentage increase, like plus 45%, so users can actually see their perceived growth. A confidence boost section lets users select strongly agree to statements like, I feel confident applying what I learned.
Nice.
It can even check learning preferences. Do they prefer the videos or the case studies? And maybe award an Achievement Unlocked, Learning Champion badge upon completion.
Oh.
The idea is this can elicit more honest, maybe more spontaneous feedback by making it feel less like an assessment and more like, well, an achievement.
That's a brilliant way to make feedback engaging, definitely less tedious. And they also talk about 360-degree skills assessments, which sounds like a much more comprehensive view.
It is. It's a really comprehensive approach where an individual assesses their own skills, but crucially, they also get input from their manager, their peers, customers, even direct reports if applicable.
Okay, multiple perspectives.
Exactly. It tracks skill competency before and after training, often using a visual scale, for specific areas like product knowledge, customer service excellence, digital banking proficiency, compliance adherence, things like that. And it also prompts for what they call impact stories.
Impact stories.
Yeah, specific, short examples of how a learned skill was actually applied on the job and what the outcome was. These can even be shared via voice to text, making it super easy.
Oh, love clever.
Imagine a bank teller saying, maybe into their phone, okay, I used the new conflict resolution technique from last week's module when a customer was upset about a fee and, they left feeling heard and actually signed up for a new savings account.
That's fantastic. Not just rating a skill, but getting a real-world narrative behind it. The so what.
Exactly.
And what about feedback from the physical world? Like in a bank branch?
Yeah.
How do they capture data in those sort of day-to-day interactions?
Good question. For that, they utilize offline assessment tools. For example, a branch manager observation checklist. And this isn't just a generic form. It has specific observable behaviors listed, like demonstrates new product knowledge confidently when speaking with customers, or applies active listening techniques during customer consultations.
Very specific.
Very specific. It includes fields for the manager's observations, notes on the most improved skill for that employee, and maybe areas needing further support. And for customers themselves, there's often a simple customer experience feedback card right there at the counter for immediate input on service quality, staff expertise, often with a QR code they can scan for more detailed online feedback later if they want.
Okay, so covering both digital and physical touch points. All this data is amazing, but, collecting it is only half the battle. What happens after it's gathered? This is where the advanced analytics and AI really step in, right? Moving beyond just reporting to powerful prediction.
Precisely. And this raises that important question. How do we use data not just to see what happened, but to anticipate, intervene, and actually improve future outcomes? The framework introduces predictive learning analytics.
That sounds like a bit of a crystal ball for learning effectiveness.
In a way, yes. It includes things like a learning risk assessment model. This identifies learners who might be at risk of non-completion or struggling with certain topics. It uses their engagement patterns, assessment scores, participation rates, time on task metrics, things like that.
Okay.
This provides early intervention triggers and personalized recommendations, so support can be offered before someone actually falls behind.
Proactive, not reactive. I like that.
Okay. And then there's a performance prediction algorithm. This forecasts job performance based on correlating learning data with actual outcomes. It links training metrics with business results, customer satisfaction, and what's truly fascinating here, it can even identify high potential candidates for leadership development based on their learning trajectories and application.
Wow, that's incredibly powerful. Not just knowing who needs help, but proactively helping them. And even spotting future leaders before maybe anyone else does. That's impressive. And this also includes AI-powered feedback collection. How does that work?
Indeed. Imagine a conversational assessment via WhatsApp or maybe Microsoft Teams. The system acts like a learning assistant, making feedback feel like a natural chat.
Okay, like texting a bot.
Sort of, but hopefully more intuitive. For example, it might initiate with, hello, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel handling complex customer complaints now after the recent training?
Okay.
The user responds, say, I'd say about an 8. The assistant replies, that's great progress. Could you share a recent example where you used a new skill from the training to resolve a customer issue?
Right. Asking for specifics.
Exactly. User types, Definitely. I helped a frustrated mobile app user just yesterday. Instead of jumping to solutions, I applied the active listening techniques, really let them explain the problem first.
Uh-huh.
Assistant. Excellent. And what was the customer's reaction to that approach? User via assistant? They seemed much happier, less agitated, and actually asked about our other digital services afterward. It felt like a breakthrough. Assistant. That's a perfect application. Is there any area where you feel you still need more support or practice? User via assistant. Maybe a bit more on the investment products module. It's a lot to take in. Assistant. Noted. I'll schedule a few micro-learning sessions for you on investment products over the next week. Thanks for your valuable feedback.
That's incredibly intuitive and feels really personalized. It's like having a dedicated, always-on learning coach right there in your pocket. It makes learning and feedback just seamless.
That's the goal. Now, to make all of this actually possible, the framework outlines some specific technology stack requirements. And this isn't just one piece of software. It's really a full ecosystem.
All right, sounds complex.
It involves a cloud-based learning management system, an LMS, with that xAPI 5 compliance for deep tracking. Analytics platforms like Tableau or Power BI for visualizing all this complex data, an AML engine for those predictive analytics and recommendation systems we just talked about, a robust mobile framework, maybe using progressive web apps for offline capability too.
Offline is key for some roles.
Definitely. And crucially, integration APIs to seamlessly connect with the existing HR and CRM systems. That integration is vital.
So pretty complex, interconnected system. And with all that data floating around, especially personal learning and performance data, privacy and security must be absolutely paramount, especially in banking.
Oh, absolutely. Non-negotiable. The framework rigorously prioritizes data privacy and security. This means ensuring strict GDPR compliance for employee learning data where applicable. Adherence to specific banking regulations, the source mentioned, detailed RBI guidelines in India. But you'd see similar robust internal policies across various financial markets.
Right.
It also mandates end-to-end encryption for all data transmission and really stringent role-based access controls for all the analytics platforms. Honestly, no stone is left unturned when it comes to safeguarding sensitive information.
That's really good to know. Those safeguards are explicitly built in from the start.
Right.
But okay, for any organization, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the return on investment, doesn't it? What are the expected benefits that make this, well, substantial investment actually worthwhile?
Yeah, the bottom line question, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the ROI is actually quite compelling. Now, the source document detailed an investment in technology, training, systems, totaling approximately 50 million Indian rupees, which is roughly 5.0 CR.
Okay.
However, the principles of this investment and the scale of the projected returns, I think, are universally applicable regardless of the specific currency.
Right. The ratios matter.
Yep. Exactly. The annual benefits are projected to be significant. They break down like this. Annual benefits including 3.2 CR in improved training effectiveness, cost savings, essentially, less wasted training budget. 8.5 CR in enhanced employee performance value addition that's directly measurable improvements in productivity and output.
Right. That's huge.
And 2.8 CR in better customer satisfaction revenue impact, proving that happier customers really do translate into more business. This leads to total annual benefits of 14.5 CR.
Okay. Against the initial 5 CR investment.
Exactly. Resulting in a net ROI of 190% over just 2 years.
Wow. A 190% ROI in just 2 years. That's not just strong. That's arguably one of the most surprising and compelling business cases we've seen for investing in human capital.
It really is.
It fundamentally shifts the perception of learning, doesn't it? From like a necessary evil or just a cost to a powerful engine for actual growth.
It absolutely does. And the framework emphasizes this isn't a one-time setup. It's an ongoing optimization process, focusing heavily on continuous improvement. So it keeps evolving.
Yes. This involves real-time dashboard monitoring and alerts, monthly analytics reviews with key stakeholders, quarterly model refinement and calibration based on the incoming data, and annual framework enhancement based on evolving business needs and priorities. It's designed to be a living, breathing system.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you, our listener? This deep dive into a data analytics framework for learning effectiveness really shows us that measuring the true impact of training is, well, it's no longer a guessing game. It's a strategic imperative that, when it's done right, can yield massive returns not just in knowledge, but in concrete, measurable business value.
It highlights that by leveraging data, everything from engaging gamified feedback right through to sophisticated predictive AI, organizations can gain really unprecedented insights. Insights into how learning truly drives performance, how it boosts employee retention, how it enhances customer satisfaction. It encourages all of us, I think, to look beyond just attendance or completion rates and focus on verifiable, measurable outcomes that actually move the bottom line. This has been incredibly insightful, thank you. For our provocative thought today, maybe consider this. If we can apply such a sophisticated data analytics framework to learning effectiveness in a highly complex, highly regulated industry like banking, how might this level of detailed measurement, this predictive analysis, this personalized intervention, how might it transform other areas of organizational development, or even perhaps our own personal growth? Could it make every investment we make in knowledge, personal or professional, a truly verifiable asset?
Hmm. That is definitely something to chew on indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.